Welcome to all of you to the Northeast Regional Round of the National Financial Literacy Quiz, sponsored by NISM and SEBI at Guwahati. So this is being hosted today at the Assam Don Bosco University Azara campus at Guwahati, which is a beautiful place indeed. So welcome all of you. And after seeing an enthusiastic participation, I think it's echoing. So we have a participation of around 55 teams here. So a big round of applause for everybody from the Northeastern region. Thank you so much. A special thanks to the faculty members who've accompanied their students here towards this initiative and for encouraging them towards the financial literacy side. So we have representation from all the seven sisters in Assam. All the colleges from Assam, like you can see participation from Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. So thank you so much. This is a fantabulous participation. To tell you about the NFLQ 2025, this is a part of NISM and SEBI's advocacy efforts towards strengthening financial literacy. And this initiative is aimed primarily at the undergraduate and the postgraduate students and is designed to spread awareness about financial markets at large. We are deeply honored today to have with us our NISM director, Mr. Sashi Krishnan. He's the highest authority at NISM, a very well-known thought leader in financial market space. So you talk about any area, financial markets I'm saying because he's been into the mutual fund industry, capital market ecosphere, you can say at large, he's there everywhere, even the pension and the insurance. So and he's also been heading as a CIO and CEO at various institutes and companies. And his presence has been there for all the regional rounds. So I would just like to, I'm really emphasizing this for the first time. This is our 5th regional round and sir has been here particularly for the students to understand the importance of this initiative. And under his leadership, NFLQ 2025 has traveled across the length and breadth of the country. So all across India, we've hosted 5 rounds till now. We started with the East at Kolkata. Then we went down to the South at Bangalore, followed by Delhi, Northern region, then the Central, and now we have the Northeast. So Northeast, of course, it's a very special focus. And we are really encouraged by your participation. And sir has again been there to grace this occasion and encourage the students. So thank you so much, sir, for being here. Along with sir, we also have representatives from the Assam Don Bosco University. We have Father KJ Thomas, Rector of Assam Don Bosco University. We have Father Joseph Nelanet, the Pros Vice Chancellor from Assam Don Bosco University. We are also privileged to have other faculty members of Don Bosco, Professor Manoranjan Kalita, who's the Director of School of Technology, Dr. Biju Mani Das, the HOD Department of Commerce, and a special thanks to Professor Abdul Aziz. He has driven a lot of participation from the northeastern parts, sir. So with all this, and even Mr. Kiran Bhaumek, he's a PhD scholar at Tripura University, and he's helped us in this drive of financial literacy from across the northeastern states. So the big round of applause for both of them. And with this, I would request our dignitaries, Mr. Sashi Krishnan, our Director NISM, Father Joseph Nelanet, Father KJ Thomas, Professor Manoranjan Kalita, Professor Abdul Aziz to please come up on stage, and even Dr. Biju for the lamp lighting so that we can formally inaugurate the event. would request our director, Mr. Sashi Krishnan, to please come up on stage for the inaugural address and formally inaugurate today's event, sir.
Uh, a very good morning to all the participants at this NFLQ at Guwahati. Thank you so much for making it to Don Bosco University. At the outset, let me thank Father Joseph and Father Thomas and Professor Kolita for, allowing us to host this event out here. Because I think financial literacy today is a life skill that every young Indian necessarily needs to have. And just remember that today India is, at a place where things are poised for a takeoff. And there are a huge number of tailwinds that are going to drive, the Indian economy. For example, demographics is clearly in our favor. More than 50% of India today is in the age group of, say, 18 to 35. And, a large number of them are, will get into this age group over the next couple of years. And this is going to be a huge dividend for the Indian economy and growth. Secondly, I think there's a huge rollout of physical infrastructure that we are seeing in India. And, Guwahati itself is a very clear example of the kind of physical infrastructure that is being rolled out in this country. And I do understand that you are getting a new airport. There is a new semiconductor plant that is being set up, very close to Guwahati. And I think there is a logistic hub that is being set up in Guwahati. In fact, yesterday when I was talking to the general manager of the hotel I was staying in, he tells me that his year-round occupancy in Guwahati is something like 90%, which I think we haven't heard of before. And this is true of every Indian city. I think the next big driver of the Indian economy is going to be our digital economy. And I think we are way, way ahead of the rest of the world in the way digitization has overtaken not only the economy, but has influenced the financial system itself. And today, whether you talk about UPI, whether you talk about the Jan Dhan accounts, digitization has made a huge impact. Today, almost 90% of India is covered by the banking system purely because of digitization, right? Fourthly, India is now going to become the center of the global supply chain. I know there are problems because of, the US tariff measures and stuff like that. But in course of time, I think India will be one of the hubs of the global supply chain. And, services exports will keep increasing because today India is, at least from the technology perspective, from the, services perspective, one of the top providers of talent. And therefore, in this entire context, I think the capital markets becomes a very, very important part because what fuels growth is going to be capital. And if you need to raise capital, you will necessarily need to come to the capital markets. And the capital markets will become an extremely big sort of driver of growth in India. With this, obviously, there are going to be problems because, you can't have a sort of Alice in Wonderland story for everything. And there will be problems because geopolitics is really going to play havoc with a lot of what we will see over the next couple of years. Protectionism is going to increase. And with that, we will need to, as future leaders in the capital markets, rethink the way we do business. The rupee obviously is going to be weak because, India is an economy that does not have full convertibility and therefore, a lot of the geopolitical forces will force the rupee down. Inflation will be a big threat for us, though we say inflation is at 4%, 5%. If you look at inflation in the education sector, over the last 20 years, it's been more than 14%. And I keep telling people that, with 14% inflation in the education sector, sometimes at some point of time, education may become, unattainable for a lot of Indians. And I think the speed of policy making definitely needs to improve. So if you look at the Indian economy today, way back in 2000, we were at the 13th position. Fast forward to 2025, and we are at the 14th position with a, economy that's close to 4.19 trillion US dollars, right? And if you fast forward to 2028 in the future, we will be in the third position with a economy of something like 5.7 trillion. And clearly the vision is that by 2047, we need to become a $30 trillion dollar economy. And that is why finance and capital markets is so very important. And every one of you, I mean, whether you finally land up working in the financial services sector or otherwise, it is very important that you understand the, nuts and bolts of finance and, try and get a sort of working knowledge of how markets work and how the financial sector works. And I think if you look at the securities market itself, you will find that in spite of the fact that gross household savings has been just around 18.4% over the last couple of years, I think we are seeing a very, very significant shift away from physical assets into financial assets. And today, if you look at the securities market itself, the market cap of the Indian stock markets as a percentage of GDP is something like 130%. We have got one of the highest market caps to GDP, compared to the rest of the world. There may be just around 4 countries or 3 countries which have got a higher market cap to GDP. And if you look at a couple of key statistics relating to the securities market, you will find that it's really sort of grown significantly over the last couple of years. Look at the mutual fund AUM, for example. See, as on June 2025, the total mutual fund AUM was something like 74.5 lakh crores. Okay, and it's been growing at something like around 20-23% over the last couple of years. If you look at the portfolio management services, there is something like 37 lakh crores of assets under management in PMS. If you look at the alternate investment funds, there is something like 13.5 lakh crores of assets under management in the alternate investment funds. And therefore, you will see that, there is a huge amount of interest that, the average Indian investor and saver has in putting his money into capital market instruments. And if you go back to look at the number of demat accounts, for example, India is something like, at last count, something like 19.4 crore demat accounts. And out of a population of about 150 crores, 19.4 crores is a very, very significant number. So I think the capital markets have made huge strides over the last couple of years. And I think that's very, very important it's very, very important for every one of us to have a, idea as to what is this financial market. And the main reason of having a national financial literacy quiz is to actually encourage the young generation to sort of imbibe this life skill. Having said that, I think, young adults, I mean, people like you, not people like me and fathers sitting out there, but young adults today, between the ages of 18 and 30, they're going to form a very, very key demographic in India. And they account for a population of something like 473 million individuals. And 93% of them, statistics seem to suggest to us, actually have some form of savings. Right? How many of these people are moving that savings into investment, we do not know, but they have some form of savings. But out of that, almost 30% are active investors. And another 30% are not confident enough. And one of the reasons why we have events like this is to get this entire 100% of this cohort to understand finance and to build that as a life skill. But I think the first port of call, unfortunately, for most people in this cohort, this 19 to 35 cohort, for financial advice is the internet, right? And one of the reasons why events like this will make you, a lot more eager to look at sources other than the internet for information and for knowledge is, one of the main objectives of what we have at NISM. And, most people not only access the internet to get information and knowledge, but they also, use the internet to transact. And that is why we see the number of financial frauds increasing. And we do hope that with events like this, we will be able to sort of educate you enough not to fall prey to these financial faults. Now, if you look back and see why is this, young generation so hooked onto the internet for decision making as far as their finances are concerned, you will see that there are a couple of things that are very important. One is, in this internet age, it is much easier to access the internet to get information rather than take the trouble of coming for a NFLQ in Guwahati from wherever you are and sort of try and get knowledge. Or even going back to your professors, as Professor Kalita will vouch, and ask them doubts, because how many of us actually go back to them and ask doubts? All of us go to the internet. We believe more in the internet than our faculty sometimes. And that's one thing I'll urge you all to sort of imbibe, is to look for information in the right sources. The internet may not be the right source of information. That it is very useful, there is no doubt about it. But for financial literacy, I think there's a lot more that you can do. The second thing I think is that you're not very, very sure as to, if you go back to somebody to ask them their doubts, whether you're going to get the right information. And I mean, with due respect to all the faculty sitting out here, sometimes in this era where, knowledge is moving so fast, the ecosystem is changing so fast, going back to your faculty and your parents may not give you as good an idea as to what you need to do, because technology is moving so very, very quickly that what was relevant today is no longer relevant tomorrow. The jobs that you were preparing for today will no longer be the jobs that are going to be available tomorrow. And that's one of the reasons why there is a lack of confidence, and that is why it's very important, even for people who impart knowledge, and all the faculty who are sitting out here, to be up to date in terms of what is happening and what are the trends. I mean, people are really not, very, very sure as to, whether the knowledge that they get from, say, a financial advisor is merely going to be about products, or it's going to be about how to manage their finances. And therefore, I think, events like the National Financial Literacy Quiz are an attempt that we at NISM have made to sort of reach out to, 2.5 lakh students across this country. And maybe in course of time, we'll be able to scale it up significantly more to give them a sense as to, how not only should they manage their own finances, but how, as a life skill, financial literacy is very, very important. There will be some people who will win prizes today. There will be, some people who will not win prizes today. But I think if all of us go back a little wiser in terms of, what the financial ecosystem is and how we should manage our own personal finance, I think, you would all have gained, quite a bit. So all the best for the quiz, and, may the best teams win. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I would now request Father Thomas to please come up on stage and enlighten our audience with few words, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Respected Dr. Sashi, Director of NISM, and in your presentation, you have upstaged your namesake, Sashi Tharoor. The organizers of this event, the office bearers of NISM, the representatives of the 55 participating institutions right across the Northeast, the quiz masters and the quiz competitors. It is my honor to welcome you all to Don Bosco University Asara campus. And I do it also in the name of the Pro Vice Chancellor, Father Joseph Nelanat, present in our midst, Dr. Manoranjan Kalita, Director of the School of Technology here at Asara, Dr. Biju Mani, and others of Don Bosco University present with us here. I extend my respectful regards and cordial welcome to every one of you. The meticulously planned program, the artistically presented stage, the beautiful backdrop, the wide participation from 55 institutions from right across the Northeast speak of the quality of this program and the credibility and acceptance of the organization and the managers of this event. I congratulate the organization. I congratulate the quiz competitors. And in advance, I extend 3 cheers to the winners of this financial literacy quiz competition. Advancing financial literacy is empowering persons and communities. And as Dr. Sashi told us already, preparing us to meet the challenge of the digital economy and the ever-growing economy that India is. I congratulate the quiz competitors who have cleared the earlier stages to come up to this level. Your participation is going to make you leaders of your communities and leaders in the goal and the purpose of NISM itself. Once again, I welcome you all to Don Bosco University. And Don Bosco University will be pleased to join hands with the organizations who advance the empowerment of people, especially in this core area of our world and of our digital culture and money management. Once again, welcome to each one of you and have an enjoyable day here at the Don Bosco University Asara campus. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would now request our director, Mr. Sashi Krishnan, to please come up on stage to felicitate Father Thomas. Thank you, Father. So I would request you to be on stage, sir. We wanted to felicitate a few more people. So I would call Father Joseph Lenanet also for his support extended. Right, since 2-3 months, he's been with us coordinating for the event and giving various campuses. Thanks a lot, sir. So I would also request Professor Abdul Aziz, HOD Commerce, Kharupetia College, to please come up on stage. So he had mobilized around 700 students from his college to take the online NFLQ quiz. So big round of applause for him. And he's been actively promoting NFLQ throughout Assam, other northeastern states. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Abdul, sir. Also, I would like to call upon Mr. Kiran Bhaumek. He's a PhD scholar at Tripura University. He's doing a lot of work for RBI financial literacy. So he agreed to do a lot of mobilization of students from Tripura. and also been writing in various newspapers in Northeast to promote NFLQ. Thank you, Kiran.